Hey everyone, welcome back to Borders Pacific Northwest. If you are new to our channel, I'm going to kind of change this actual episode up, and this is going to be more informative. Information on a D7 visa to Portugal. So we are from the United States, we're getting ready to move to Portugal, and we have our meeting in San Francisco at the VFS to apply for our Portuguese visa on the 29th. So yes, we had a lot of work to do leading up to this, so I thought I would go through the checklist. There's a lot of information online that's not correct. We actually hired a company called Atlantic Bridge to be our consultants to help us get through this process. So yeah, just want to give you guys some information, and moving forward, once we leave Oregon and make our way to the East Coast and then to Canada and then to Lisbon, I'm gonna do more of a vlog style for our channel. So I'm not gonna do a lot of editing. I'm just gonna film what we're doing, explain how things are going. But again, this is information for moving to Portugal with a D7 visa. All right, well, geez, this is the paperwork. This is the paperwork for Tony. And this is the paperwork for me. And this is the paperwork for Rusty, our dog, because we're taking him with us. So I'm gonna start with the checklist. This checklist we got from Atlantic Bridge, who we hired to ensure we do all the right process and paperwork for our visa, so there's no hangups. So first of all, let me say we are moving to Portugal on a tourist visa first for the first 3 months, while we wait for our visa. You might hear my dog barking in the background. He's a little loud. Anyways, our tourist visa, and then once we get our visa approved, we actually have to come back to the United States with our passports and have them insert the page in our passport, which is our visa. And then we have to enter Portugal with that visa in our passport, and then that starts our 4 months until we have our, it's called a SEF meeting to get the temporary visa, which will be for 2 years. So let's talk about the checklist. So this again is for Tony and me. He's the primary. Tony gets a military retirement income, so we made him the primary. We do have passive income that would satisfy for me also, separate if we wanted to do 2 separate visas, but I shouldn't say 2 separate visas. We each apply for our own D7, but instead we just did one. Tony's the primary and mine's considered a reunification visa. So my paperwork is a bit different. I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so the checklist. So again, this is as of 2023, 2024, and these are the requirements as of right now. As you know, governments might change, but that's one of the reasons why we hired a company, so we don't have to worry about that. So you need your original passport, valid and up to date. You must have 2 blank pages consecutive, front and back, valid for a minimum of 15 months. So our passports were actually getting ready to expire this year. So earlier in the year, June and I think July-ish, Tony and I both got updated passports, so we're good to go. We got the thick passports too. You need a notarized copy of your passport identification page and stamped pages. So originally, I only got our passport notarized, and then I asked Atlantic Bridge, and they're like, no, you have to have all the stamps in your passport also. So lucky ours is so new that we didn't have that many stamp pages, which is nice. So we fit the stamped pages that we had and the passport copy on the same page for the notary, so it only cost once. I think it was like $10 for the notary. So we each need that. Proof of the NIF registration. This is the Portuguese tax identification number. Now online, there's a lot of questions about this. You can hire someone to do it for you. You can do it yourself. There's lawyers in Portugal that can do that, but this was actually a service when we hired Atlantic Bridge, so they took care of it for us. In order for them to take care of that, we had to sign a power of attorney for them to be able to apply that information for us. And we also had to have more notaries and apostilles that have the Hague Convention seal on it. So we did that early in the process, like around August or September. So we have the proof of the registration, we have our tax numbers, we've even gotten the online log-on portal information from Fincas, which is, you know, the tax folks there. We need proof of address in the USA. This is very important because when they issue your visa and you mail your passport in, they mail it back to the address on file. So we used just a copy of our driver's license. So we each got a notary on our driver's, the front part of our driver's license, and that's what we're submitting. 2 photos, 3.5 by 4.5 in color, up to date, not more than 3 months old. Taken against a light background, white or off-white, good quality, face in focus, printed on normal photo paper, and you can't be smiling. Oh my God, I gotta show you this picture because it's so bad. Like in America, we've always been able to like smile in our passports and stuff, but it legit looks like a mugshot. That is so bad. Anyways, so I have 2. I put 1 on the visa page and I have an extra one. I don't know if they will take it or not. So we have all that. So the next one in my packet, again, so Tony and I are each have our own packets because we each have an appointment at the VFS. So my packets, I have to prove that I'm married to him. So I need my marriage certificate with Hague apostille issued less than 6 months when submitted. 6 months is very important because if you're creeping up on that 6 months and it's really close before your appointment, you're probably gonna wanna get a different one. So I kinda wanna show you what that looks like. It's nothing, okay, so hold on one sec. So this part is the copy, and that's notarized, and then this is what the apostille looks like. It has this little thing here, so both pages, and then it has a cover sheet that says who did it. So that's very important. There's nothing personal on here that I can't show you. So that's just the Douglas County. We got married in Nevada, well, State Line, Nevada, in South Lake Tahoe. And so where we got this done locally, we requested the certified copy of our marriage certificate. And then the company that we hired for the Hague Apostle, they got the Secretary of State of Nevada to finish it off and then send it to us. So, very important that you have that for the reunification part of the visa. Okay, moving on. FBI criminal check record. Issued less than 6 months when submitted to VFS. So this is very important. If you do not want to get another Hague Apostle, like I'm dying to know what it says on the inside. I know that there's nothing wrong, but I'm like paranoid that it's not the right form. I'm sure it is, but what they do is, I will show you this. They mail it to you like this. Hopefully I didn't just show my address. I'll blur that out if I did. But anyways, it's sealed, okay? It's never been opened. So that's very important. Okay, next, and we each need that, one for Tony and one for me, each of us in our packets. The next thing you need is all the financial information. So documents providing income, certifying revenue from movable and immovable property, intellectual and financial assets. So tax statements, so your latest tax return. So for us, that's 2022. Bank statements for the last 3 months showing movements in the last 3 months. And those movements that they're talking about is if you have passive income, which Tony has a retirement paycheck from the military, and we're providing documentation of that, it needs to correspond with those deposits going into your bank account. So they're looking to make sure you're actually getting those deposits. His proof of retirement, so in the military you get what's called a leave and earning statement, so the last 3 months of those. And then we also got a letter from the military stating his retirement amount. So we just put that in there too. And proof of real estate property that you receive rentals. So we have real estate property and we actually do it through Zillow. So I printed out that lease contract from the Zillow online. So all of that goes in Tony's packet. And then in my packet, there's another form called Terms of Responsibility, which is signed by Tony. It's basically saying I'm his dependent and he agrees to take responsibility for me, which I know it sounds weird, but we're doing a reunification visa is what it is called, and he just has to make sure he can financially support me. So I need that form signed by him, which we have, and then all the copies of the documentation I just talked about, all the financial stuff to put in there. Just makes your packet stronger. So the next one is the total amount of income for both Tony and I with our passive income, because remember, a D7 visa is for the first 4 months and after you arrive in Portugal, and we can't work or do anything. So the amount of income that we must receive in passive income for us, both of us together, is $1,140, not dollars, euros. 1,140 euros. That's it, per month, that we have to show that we receive. And Atlantic Bridge recommends providing more than, actually if you can, for the bank account in Portugal, which we're talking about now, they recommend providing 25 to 30% more put in your Portuguese bank account. So the total amount, the minimum amount in a Portuguese bank account that you have to prove that you have is 13,680 euros for the two of us. Now, you're not losing that money. It's just sitting in the account. That's it. So it's still your money. You're not spending it. It's just going to sit there to prove that you can support yourself. Okay. So that's a whole nother fiasco about the bank. So we use Bank of Millennium, and they were recommended by Atlantic Bridge, and we did everything virtually. So they were really nice. There were some other Hague Apostles and certifications we had to get of our address and our social security, our identity, our passports. But once we sent all that paperwork in, we actually had to physically mail it, DHL. The bank account was open in like a week. And then what I did is I have a Wise account, which has been fantastic. We also use it when we traveled to Japan. We used it to purchase our property in Japan so we can convert it to euros. So I basically sent money from our savings account in America to to Wise as an intermediary. I changed it over to euros, and then I transferred the money from Wise into our Bank of Millennium. And so now that I have that set up, I send money there all the time. It's very easy to convert over. So you have to prove that you have the bank account. So for Tony and me, it's a joint account, but in Portugal, it only shows one person on the statement. That's just how it works in Portugal. So I had to get a letter from the bank stating it was a joint account to prove that I'm on the account. So I have to have that extra piece of paper in my packet with the money that is notated on the bank statement. So it says Tony on the bank statement, and then I have a letter that has my name on it from that Bank of Millennium sent us. Easy peasy. All of this has taken quite a while to get to the end, but we're really excited because we haven't been moving quickly. We probably could have moved faster, but we wanted to be with family for the holidays. So yeah. Okay, so accommodation. I see online a lot of people say that you have to have a year lease that's registered with Fincas, the tax place in Portugal, that shows it's a rental. That's actually not true. So we spoke with our consulting company, Atlantic Bridge, and hotel, Airbnb, or long stay places are acceptable for at least 6 months. So we needed to prove that we have a place to live when we get to Portugal for at least 6 months. We used an online website called Uni Places, and the reason we used them is because it's just like Airbnb, but it's a little bit different. The reason we use them is because they provide a letter, a contract, which is what we need to satisfy our visa requirement, that states the contract length. And so Tony needs one and I need one. We each need a letter to put in our packet. So we have that. We knew in advance when our appointment was going to be. So we made our appointment, we made the contract start January 1st to July 31st. just so we have it when we show up. So you might end up paying a little bit out of your pocket, which we will, because we're not going to arrive till February 1st. But you don't have to be paying on the place for 6 months until you move there. A lot of people say that they're concerned about that. So this website was a lifesaver for us. The next you need is valid travel medical insurance, also called a Schengen letter. So we went with a company the Atlantic Bridge suggested, and I'll tell you the name of that company. So the name of the company where we got our travel insurance is called ARAG. And that travel insurance, these are the requirements as of 2023-2024. It must be valid for a period of 1 year, and the coverage at least 30,000 euros and cover the whole Schengen area. It must also cover expenses that might arise in connection with repatriation for medical reasons, urgent medical attention, emergency hospital treatment, and in case of death. So again, that company was recommended by Atlantic Bridge. So we just went with them. So we each needed, it was about $800 each for the whole year. So we just paid that ahead of time. The next thing you need is a permission to the Department of Border SEF to obtain a criminal record in Portugal. So Atlantic Bridge provided us a form. It had English on one side and Portuguese on the other, and it had our details, our name and passport and all that kind of stuff. And then of course the visa application. The visa application was also provided from our consulting company, Atlantic Bridge. And the last piece of the puzzle is we need to get a money order for, it's around $40 some each for when we go to our appointment. So that's it. That's the whole package. It felt very daunting when we started out. I think getting the bank account felt more stressful than just gathering all these things together for the appointment. So yeah, if you guys have any questions on the companies that we used for this checklist, you know, like Unispaces and the insurance, the bank, I have contact details of our bank person that we use. Anything at all, post comments and I'd be happy to give you their details. And as I said, we are excited. We have everything done. We are not arriving until February 1st. We fly on July 31st. And the remaining videos on this channel are probably going to be vlog style. So just going to let you know what's going on. I'll be videoing where we're at the airport when I can. Rusty's information flying with a pet. I'll probably make a separate video on that. So be on the lookout. That video, we are flying Portugal Airlines and we did not hire a company to fly Rusty. So I'll tell you why in the next video. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. And stay tuned for our adventures. It's getting closer. We got about 5 weeks until we fly over and we're getting really excited. So thanks everyone for watching.